Hello, I'm creating this video to show you guys what I'm currently doing, and I'm currently trying to split this code in half because I've created it. I'm not really proud of it. You can see that it contains a logic file and a test file, but it also contains some test logic, test util that I created, and I was too lazy to do it properly, and now it just lingers in my history. So I thought I might split it in half. So create a separate commit for the test utils and a separate commit for the logic and the test, and to name them properly. But unfortunately, I also uh, edited the file along the way. I also moved it to some other location along with some other tests, and then added another util and edited the same file, edit the same file again, and so on. So reverting this history would not be an easy thing to do. Most people would just not do it. They would probably leave it this ugly comment right there. And there's a good reason for it, because doing git rebases or even git amends or git resets is a really difficult task to do, and well, it's almost guaranteed to make some conflicts that are hard to solve, and you can't do it automatically. You have to read through them and parse them in your mind, sort of, and basically not make any mistakes, not to make anything worse. But there's a really cool trick to do. There's a really cool trick we can use. Yeah, but there's a really cool trick we can use, and first of all, it's really easy, it's really safe, and it doesn't require you to do any thinking. You can sort of do it automatically without any thinking, and it will be alright. So this is the commit that we want to split, this one here, and we want to have these changes in one commit and these in the second commit. So the first thing we're going to do is create a revert of those files. That's what you heard, a revert. And we're going to revert those two files, or those. Well, it actually depends on which commit you want to have lower in history. If you want these files to be lower, you should reverse those. So revert those that should be higher, basically. I'm going to revert those. So I'm going to revert the whole commit. And PHPStorm actually found out that it would conflict because on one hand I want to remove it, delete it, and on the other hand I'm modifying this file in those two commits here. So on one side is deleted, on the other side is modified. So I want to revert it, so I'm going to delete it. And that's my commit. And I don't want to revert all of those. I just want to revert those two. So I'm going to not revert those. So I'm going to revert the revert and only revert those files. And I'm going to name it removing my changes. And I'm just typing a comment to help me remember that I should reward those. And now, that's the tricky part, we have to revert that revert to undo this revert, because we want those changes in our history after all. So we're not going to remove it. We're just going to create two commits that are inverses of each other. If we look at them together, you can see that they're adding and reverting the same stuff. Now I'm going to just verify that my history is clean. All right. So not what we're trying to do is move. Oh, okay, notice that creating those reverts was really a no-brainer. I just clicked on them. I chose which files should be reverted, and that's it. Now we're just gonna move this commit down there, here, and move this one along the way. So basically, move those two commits down here. And notice that if we squashed them, these and these, that would look like only those files are modified. Well, it displays that they're here in PHPStorm, but that's the added file, that's the reverted file. They show in different folders because in this commit here, I moved them. But if we rebase them and squash them, they will be, well, basically changes from this commit will disappear from that one. All right, so what we want to do is do an interactive rebase of those commits. I want those commits to be rebased, so I'm going to start the rebase from here. And these are my commits. And what I want to do And this is Vim, by the way, so I'm going to use dd to remove this line and paste it above. And same stuff with that. Yeah, and that should just move my revert and the revert of the revert right after the comment I want modified. Of course, there's a conflict on removing my changes. That's all right, that's to be expected. But you don't need any brain to solve it, really. On remove my changes, I want my file to be deleted because that's a revert. And that's it. And then you have to look at it. Yes, now it's another conflict on the first commit that edits it. And it says added TMP there. So that's basically just a commit that edits the file after they've been reverted and reverted of reverted. After they've been re-reverted, so to speak. If you're not familiar with resolving conflicts, you can imagine this as this file being edited into this form, but because of our rebase, this commit wouldn't start off from this base, it would start from this. So we can think of this right panel as would be base for this commit before the rebase. And I can see that the bottom line here are edited into the same thing. So I'm gonna just copy and paste it from here because, well, they evaluate to the same thing after all. So this line was edited on both bases to the same file, to the same content. And I'm just gonna use the new base. Yeah. Yeah, and how does it look like now? It just looks like all my files are the same. I mean, all my comments are the same, except for these two that are now right above this commit that I wanted to change. You can see that even though I had this commit that moved my file, well, the kit is just really smart and it figured it out. That's why we had the conflict in the beginning where it was modified and deleted. From one side, it was modified because it was moved to other place, and from the other, it was deleted because I did the revert. Okay, and now, as you can see, if we squashed these two commits together, my change wouldn't be there, but it would be here. Because this is the revert of those changes. These are the changes. So if we squash them together, these commits, we sort of join them together, the change disappears. So we're gonna rebase from here again. We're gonna rebase those commits. So we start from here. And we will just squash them as an interactive rebases squash. It will ask me for a new name of this commit, and I will no longer name it added discover template because, well, that's just a util test in this commit. The actual function and test will be in the future commit. So I'm gonna name it added tmp clean because that's the utility I added in this commit. And you can see now I squashed it and renamed it. So that's my resulting file. And this is our previous revert of the revert with the changes that I wanted in the first place. So I'm just gonna reward it. So I'm gonna rebase from here. Yeah, and reward in interactive rebase is reward. So for R. And this is my actual code that I wanted. So I'm gonna name it added discover templates because that's the function that I added. So now, from my first two really ugly commits, now I have two clean separate commits. That this one is named tmp clean because that's the method that it adds, and that's the added templates because that's the method in this module that I added. So now, after all this rebasing, all we have to do is just git push force it, and that's it.